I think this is as good as we're gonna get it. Chain, brilliant. And one of the problems we've got now, I mean, I need to glue this in. I need this to be in place because we've got a lot more remedial work to do. Well, one of the problems is if I turn this the other way around, is there ain't much in the way of touch points. I don't know if you can see that really. So contact points for this, there's so many gaps. It's just, there's hardly any plastic in contact. So the bottom of the bumper there is in contact with the front valance there at the bottom, and you're in contact in the top of the quarter panel, and that's it. That's probably enough to anchor it in place for now, and then I want to have a look at how other parts are interacting with that to see if we do something to strengthen it when we're doing all this filling work, because we'll be putting stress on it and I'm a bit concerned there's not enough holding it in place. So yeah. Right, we're going to remove the door handle now from this sheet of foil. So it's just a case of carefully trimming it out, really. So I'm cutting it roughly out first, and then we can go around and trim it a bit closer. There we go, get rid of that bit. Nearly there. Now obviously you can actually leave this in the foil and just glue it on and it looks pretty good. You know, that was the whole idea of doing it in the foil. Or you can paint it to key it with other parts of the vehicle. You can use this for all sorts of things, this technique. But there is our handle made and ready to go. Now, just out of interest, we did a bit of the we did a logo, didn't we? So let's cut that out, because actually the logo is not used on the General Lee. But let's just show you how we can do a logo as well. I just want to put that somewhere safe. Okay, so Just carefully going right up to the edge. You can feel with your blade when you're at the edge. And every now and then, because this is quite a long piece, the foil sort of gets in the way a little bit once it's released, so you just keep removing any excess. So now we've cut out the basic shape, I can just go round and cut out the little dips and things in it, which give it its actual defined shape. And there we go. Let's put it on something so it's easy for you to see. One car logo. So yeah, it says Charger. So there you go. That's the technique. It works. It works well. I've never had a part snap on me before, so that was just a special because we were on camera. I will be able to put those two pieces back together, I think, but also I've got plenty of foil and I've got plenty of time, so I might just make another copy. Now I'm going to paint mine, so it doesn't matter which side of the foil you use if you're going to paint them, but obviously there's a shiny side and a duller side on foil usually, so generally if you want to use the part as a metal part, use the shiny side. So I'll just show you one more time. I've actually got better definition on this part, so we will, the one I've snapped, we will do again. So there's my door handle. That looks pretty good. It's exactly like the part on the car because we took it directly from the car. And like I say, if I'd done that on the shiny side, I could easily just glue that on and keep it in that colour. And it's a good way of being able to emulate little moulded parts that you want to remove because they're in the way. So yeah. For me, that one will be going back on the General Lee, but like I say, we will be painting it up. So I'm just going to put it somewhere safe so we don't lose it, and make myself another one for the one that we broke. Right, as I'm cleaned up this panel, I thought this edge looked tatty and this edge looked tatty, but I wanted to just check the fit. So so we did that, and the fit is approximate. It's nowhere near. It's better on this side, but in my mind I'm painting that one colour and painting this another colour, and you know, attaching them on. I don't think that's doable, because I think we're going to have to, at this stage at least, it's looking like we're going to have to clean filler up. But there's two things seem to be causing me a problem. There's a little bump there. I have no idea what that's for. It's deliberate because it's on both sides, but it's not. There's no location point for it or anything like that. And then we've got this big ridge of material, and I think that is to stop something going too far back. But when I put these in and I get these flush, the lump is behind it. So I think taking this lump off is a start to sorting that out. So I'm just gonna get a 100 grit, take that lump down. There we go. Now I don't want to damage the outside edge of this, so I'm going to go in with my chisels and remove this. Right, let's see what difference that makes. Well, not much. So the other problem would appear to be this great big thick ridge of plastic in here. So this is getting in the way of the fit of the front part. It's a lot thicker on that side than it is on this side, but it's still there. So I think that needs to come out, and for that we need something with a bit more oomph than a chisel. Okay, more oomph is required, so we're going to use a little grinder to take this down. We probably don't need to take it all the way down, but if we do, we do. So let's get on with that. Slowest speed that I've got so that we don't melt the plastic. Right, we'll give that a go. It may be that we can't make this fit without doing both sides, don't know. Right, well there's definitely nothing stopping that now, it's wobbling about. So whilst we've made the fit less positive, the fit is better. So, well, it's definitely better, but we're still a way off yet. I don't think I've got any more grinding to do. I want to tidy up this part and just get a better view of the fit, because you can see when you look at the part, you can see how that's rising up there. It's not doing that on that side. So every part needs a little bit of TLC. I said previously that this was all warped, so I want to remove this anyway. So we need to cut that off. It's quite a thick bit of plastic. So I'm going to tidy this part up next, I think. And then we can come back to how this fits. We're going to be gluing this in at this stage. Even though I'd like to paint it separately, we'll just have to mask the bodywork off and paint this in. It's going to be difficult because you've got the air holes underneath the bumper there, but also it's not. We need the fit right, and we can't be putting a part in and then having gaps after you've painted the bodywork. I'm also, you know, we've got. I mean, look at that. You just wouldn't have that. What's it like on this side? Just as bad. So yeah, there's a lot of work to do on this. It's just, they've just given you a basic shape and you've got to make it right, is where we're up to. And I can also see that we might be shimming the front of this along the top edge. So let's see, starting with a 100, just gonna flatten that thick edge up. Doesn't matter how rough this is on the inside. And then you can see you've got a big thick mould line on the edge here. Okay, that's looking better. Just straightening things up, making sure they're an even thickness. Right, removing this now. I think the best way to go is to maybe score it. So I'm going to use my Tamiya scriber. I can almost see through that now, so we've nearly cut through that. There we go. That's that removed, that can go in the bin. Okay, and then I'm just going to go in with a round file and round that join there, and do the same on that side. So that we have a gradual rather than a harsh step there. It looks more like the bumper shape. And then we can choose whether we want to put another number plate on or not. We could just leave it without number plates maybe. Get it all nicely shaped, because we've got sink in this part here. There we go, that end's not looking so bad now. That's definitely, when you look at it, you can definitely see which side I've tidied up. So I'll carry that on. I've got a small issue with, I say a small issue, I mean, look at that. Look at the thickness of that under my thumb there, and the thickness of that under my thumb there. Actually, it doesn't look that different on camera, but I can assure you, there's a massive difference. So we're going to have to see what the bonnet looks like when it's in and closed. But if I have this aligned to that front edge and glue that in there, then this front edge ends up poking forward. You see what I mean? The whole thing is just, I can't say that word. It's a family friendly show, but you've all stepped in it once before at least. It's dreadful. So that means I'm gonna have to build that front edge up. And no doubt we're gonna have to plop the bonnet in and align it. Yeah. Okay. Well, it's in the spirit of the General Lees that we're constantly being patched up in it. Right, let's get some glue and see where we go. So I've had to do a lot of work on shaping to get this to this point. We've spent a lot of time on this particular area to get the fit where we want it. So I'm going to hold that there. And I'm going to run some glue into there. And if I hold that there, I should be able to now glue this one. Okay, so we've got some glue on the initial touch points there. This is very delicate though, so it needs to dry. So I think I'm not going to do anything more with this bit for now. So I think what I want to turn my attention to is clean up of the interior. So slowly working my way through the parts. I'm just doing initial cleanup and modifications. With a lot of these parts, we'll come back to them and do more when we're finishing the parts ready for installing. So this is one of the front seats. You can see we've got a huge sprue gate there. We've got really heavy seam on there, and we've got the molded in seat belts that I want to replace. So those are three things we can deal with now, and then we can come back to it and see what else we want to do when we're ready to paint them, install them, and what have you. What I'm trying to do is get all the parts to a point where they can be primed, and then we can see if there's more remedial work needed. So we're going to start by just removing the seat belts. Might need a smaller chisel for that. Which means we're going to have to restore texture to where these have come off, or lie the new ones in a similar way, which I'm not sure I want to do particularly. There we go, it's coming off okay. But of course what we've got now is a totally flat, smooth area. Now there's things we can do. We can use products like Mr. Surfacer to create textures. So it's really what we do to put some creases in and bits and pieces. We should be able to get the definition of the little pad, cushioned pad, back in for pretty much straight away. Just putting that definition back in. Take out any high spots that we've got. And now we need to put the piping back in. Again, really adds to the challenge that we're using, working with white plastic. Now we can sand away on this surface here where the seat belt was. Might as well do the seam while we're at it. Okay, so like I said, we can use something like Mr. Surfacer to put some texture in. Another thing we can do is just put some glue on it and then a little bit of sponge or something. That's a good way of putting texture into plastic that you've softened up. That might be the way to go, but that's not looking too bad. And if I sand the whole of that cushion, we can almost blend it in. So that's another way, is to change the look of the cushion so that it blends in. So by sanding that a little smoother, you sort of blend it in anyway. Okay, the last little bit is to just do a little bit of scraping and just finish restoring the little piping that goes along where we've taken the seatbelt off. And we can see how well we've done that when we prime. Okay, there you go. So one seat belt completely gone, and I don't think you'd really know. So rest of the cleanup, you know, it's just getting busy with your sanding sticks and your sponges. So you know, it's fairly standard stuff. It's just there is lots of it, and you can see we need different tools to tackle different bits. What we want to do is get it all nice and smooth and ready for paint. So I'm just going to keep going on doing this and coming back to you when there's bits that I think are of interest. So next time you see me, I'll have something else of interest for you, I guess. Okay, I will see you in a mo, I guess. Okay, I'm on the bonnet now, and two things we need to deal with are the two bits of detail that they've put in. One is the little indicator lens, and the other is this clip system for holding the bonnet down. Generally doesn't have that, so we need to remove that totally, and this is proud and again needs to be flush. Now, unlike on the car body where we've created two lines to give you the shape and the bezel, we only need one on this, so we can just go in and do the inside edge, which is going to do two things. It's going to make it flush, but it's also going to make it slightly smaller, which will be better because it'll be more in keeping with the actual thing. So there we go. I've just put that in, and I just want to now deepen that a little bit, just like we did before. Okay, we're now ready to remove all of that. So I'm going in with a 400 grit just to take that off. There we go, that's completely gone. And I'm just going to trace along these raised lines and remove them out with my chisel there. I think we are nearly there with that as well. It's a really difficult spot to tidy up because it's right in the corner. But I think we definitely have got all the raised bits off. Definitely managed to gouge the part a little bit, which is a shame, but easy to fill. Right, it's so difficult working in white plastics, so we can get a true feel for it by just highlighting what we've done. With a bit of panel liner. Oh, okay. Better than it looked. So yeah, happy with that. So I'll do that on the other side, and yeah, away we go. Right, cleaned up the bonnet and been looking at this. Now I've made a decision. I'm not going to put a working hinge on here because it's a scissor hinge. And yes, I could do it, but it's an awful lot of faff for something that I'm probably almost never going to see. So we're just going to leave it so that we can lift it off and see the engine when we want. I have removed the corner tabs or trimmed them down because it's the only thing that the corners sit on. But as you can see, we've got a lot of gap around this. So particularly, we've got a big gap there and a big gap there. So what I want to do is put a bit of a shim on the bonnet, change the shape of the back edge there so it's in line with the front valance. Here it's a little bit more problematic. You know, if I wasn't going to see the engine, we'd just glue it in and shim it up and sand it back. But I want to be able to take it off to see the engine. So I don't want to shim the bonnet here because it's going to look odd. So I'm going to have to shim the inside of this quarter panel, which means putting a strip on here and closing that gap up. So what I want to do is just mark that up now while I've got this sat in place. So I'm just going to gently rest my fingers so it doesn't move. And then I can see where I want to shim, and it's pretty much there to there, and then right from that corner there down to about here. So if I mark that up, so from that leading edge down to there. We've also got to build up the front edge here as well. There's other things we need to do with the bonnet. I've got ejector pins to sort out on the inside. So even though the bonnet will either be removed or closed, we still want to sort that out, paint that up. I also need to remove these pins and what have you. Actually, the pins weren't aligned with the holes in the corner edges, so even if you wanted to use them, you had to do some work just to make them sit. So quite a lot to do. Right, let's have a look at putting some shim in. So I've got some thin plastic card strip here. You can buy little multi-bags of this sort of stuff. So if I get my knife, and I'm going to cut it there. So that's my bit of shim. And we just run some glue into that top edge. This is the easiest bit to do because it's sitting on this little bit that's for resting the bonnet. That'll hold it in place. We glue the rest of that in. Just like that capillary in for a sec. So then what we'll do is we'll sand that edge in so it blends into that piece, and when we're doing the filling work we'll put some filler in there and sand it in, and that in theory should close our gap. So if I put this on now, you can see that gap is a lot better. A lot better. So we'll just sand it thinner there. Yeah, so we'll do exactly the same process on the top of the bonnet. So because we're going to feather it in, I'm going to make it slightly longer than we've marked out. Get it pretty central so we've got an equal amount either side of where I've marked out for feathering in. I've glued in one edge. That'll hold it there now. And just press it into place. There we go. So you can see how that's going to close that up. So when we've sanded it back, feathered it in, we should have a much nicer line in terms of bonnet gaps. So I need that to dry for a while and harden up before I do any sanding work on that. But fairly easy fixes, yeah. So yeah, right. This is actually more secured in now than I thought it was going to be. So another thing that we want to do is we want to have, we need to sort of square this off. So where we've got the bumper and we've got the shape of the body, it actually needs to follow the shape of the bumper a little bit better. So we probably want to, we need a gap. Because what you've got is the actual bodywork goes in behind this. So I'm just wondering about shimming at the back and then shimming at the front to tidy that all up. I think that makes sense to me. If we do that, that then sort of emulates the bodywork in the back, as it should do. And then we can put the shim on top and just sand it all back. I prefer to use plastic than filler because it's just easier and quicker to work with, to be honest. Yeah, my gut feeling is that's the way to go. So I'm gonna glue that in. And then I can cut a small piece off, which we can use as a shim to straighten up the side edge. And we will need to put a little bit of filler in. But if I get that in line with where I want it, which is following the line of the curve of the bumper there. And then once that's dried, we can trim that down and sand it all back. It's such a mess, this model. Right, so I'm going to do the same on this other side as well, but you see what I'm doing. I'm just putting some body behind like it should have, and then building it up. Get that into position. I don't actually want it touching the bumper, I want a gap, but I just want it to follow the line. There we go. I think we'll probably need to shim at the back as well. Right, we'll let all that dry and carry on cleaning up other parts like this rather flashy dashboard. And when I say flashy, I don't mean really cool looking, I mean flashy. Well, I've cleaned up the dash and it is looking pretty good, but it is missing the air control switches. So there's that bit that I've drawn out as a box. We need to put something in there. It's also missing the CB radio, which gets slung sort of under here. We'll make both of those as separate items, because obviously I have no idea how that is going to fit. So I'm just going to get the interior and okay, fit, that's not too bad. Looks like that'll go in okay. Yeah, cool. I haven't done anything with the interior of this. The only thing that really needs to be done is around the gear shift. It's an automatic gearbox in the General Lee, so we need to scratch build the base of that. But other than that, it's just carpeting and painting really. And I want to add some window winders because the ones that are on are a bit thin, so it'd be nice to have separate ones of those. So yeah, that's gonna be okay, I think. All the details are there when you look at this, although there should be a round thing on there that's missing and a footwell light that's missing. But the all the switches are there. The air outlets are all there. I have had to scribe in a little bit some of the details, like I think that's an ashtray there. There is the radio at the top, although it's, you know, you've got some buttons and a dial. So all the basic stuff's there. It's just a little bit soft moulded and scrappy, which we'd expect for the age. But then when you look in this, it's actually hard to see the dials because of how big this shelf is. So yeah, you will be able to see them, but it'll be a struggle. Okay, so happy with that bit. Okay, this should be dry enough now, so I'm gonna go in with a 400 and take it down so we don't have a lip and it's flush with the top of the bonnet. So we're gonna do that first. We'll know when we've achieved that because we'll start seeing the sanding marks coming onto the bonnet top there, which we're just about starting to see. We can always perfect it after our inspection prime. Okay, that's flush. Need to do the same with the inside. There's a bigger lip on the inside, so I'm actually gonna go and trim that, I think. And then we can go back and finish the sand. There we go. So now we just need to feather that in. What we're trying to do is make it look like a continuous part of the bonnet. So I'll keep doing that. I'll show you what it looks like when I'm done.